Hare Krishna Prabhuji, are you present on the call?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. This is Chakravarti Das here.
Thank you very much Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much for giving your valuable time and association to us in this morning and enlightening us on this topic. I now hand over the call to you Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 16. Chapter entitled The Praise of King Prithu by the Professional Reciters. Text 17. Matra para strishu patnyam ardha ivatmanah prajashu pitravat siddha kinkaro brahmavadina. Matra bhakti, as respectful as one is to his mother, paratrishu, to other women, patnyam, to his own wife, ardha, half, eva, like, atmanaha, of his body, prajashu, unto the citizens, pitravat, like a father, snigdha, affectionate, kinkaraha, servant, brahmavadinam, of the devotees who preach the glories of the Lord. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The king will respect all women as if they were his own mother, and he will treat his own wife as the other half of his body. He would be just like an affectionate father to his citizens, and he will treat him as the most obedient servant of the devotees, who always preach the glories of the Lord. Purport. A learned man treats all women except his wife as his mother, looks on others' property as garbage in the streets, and treats others as he would treat his own self. These are the symptoms of the learned person as described by Chanakya Pandit. This should be the standard for education. Education does not mean having academic degrees only. One should execute what he has learned in his personal life. These learned characteristics were verily manifest in the life of King Prithu. Although he was the king, he treated himself as a servant of the Lord's devotees. Although, to the Vedic etiquette, if a devotee came to the king's palace, the king would immediately offer his own seat to him. The word Brahmavadinam is very significant. Brahmavadi refers to the devotees of the Lord. Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan are different terms for the Supreme Brahman, and the Supreme Brahman is Lord Krishna. This is accepted in Bhagavad Gita 10.12 by Arjuna, Param Brahma Param Dhama. Thus the word Brahmavadinam refers to the devotees of the Lord. The state should always serve the devotees of the Lord, and the ideal state should conduct itself according to the instructions of the devotees. Because King Prithu followed this principle, he is highly praised. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam दाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशकारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरतुषे नमः हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधाकांत नमस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. So today we have around 20 devotees who are sitting in front of me here also. There's some students from different colleges. So I just thought that we can combine the class. It's a very interesting topic which is going on with how after King Prithu appeared, then the sages they instructed the professional reciters to recite verses glorifying King Prithu. Because Prithu Maharaj is Shaktavesh avatar, as we know, is an incarnation of Lord, and he has been assigned a particular duty that we will see later. So these professional reciters, they started reciting the verses glorifying the Lord. Any humble personality, be it devotee of Lord or Lord himself, they don't like to be glorified. Even though in many places you will see Lord is humble definitely, but he has to hear the glories because the glories will purify the entire world. Not only the reciter, there are other people. And these prayers only are what we have in Srimad Bhagavatam. Otherwise, Lord is extremely humble. So here, King Prithu is setting another example where he is kind of, rebuking, mildly chastising the reciter, saying that why are you glorifying me for what I have not done? You are glorifying me for what I have not yet achieved. Because he just appeared. It will happen in the future, definitely. All these sages are also Trikala Gyanis. Like when Narad Muni meets Krishna in Vrindavan, this is just few days, 2 or 3 days before Akrura comes to take Krishna. So when Narada comes, he is glorifying Lord because Narada Muni saw that Lord has appeared to help demigods by killing Kamsa and other demons. The Lord is playing. Krishna is busy playing. So Narad Muni comes. When Narad Muni comes, Krishna kind of tricked all the cowherd boys and sent them little away so that he can talk personally to Narad Muni. So then Narad is telling, my Lord, you have forgot. You have come here to rescue the demigods from these problems. You have come to rescue people of this planet from the burden of demons. And then he says that today you will be killing Keshi demon. Keshi is about to come. Narad Muni will leave and Keshi will come. And then he says you will kill Kamsa, you will speak Bhagavad Gita, you will settle in Dwarka. All these he is informing because he is Trikala Narad Muni. So here the sages are Trikala Gyanis and they are telling, they instructed the professional reciters. Now these professional reciters are not like professional reciters of Prabhupada condemns. These are all devotees of Lord, but they can sing very beautifully the verses in glorification of the Lord, so they are being appointed to sing. They are not like non-devotees. Obviously, King Prithu will never accept prayers from non-devotees, and sages who are pure devotees of the Lord, they will never appoint any non-devotee to pray or to sing glories of the Lord. So then, King Prithu is telling, let me do all these things. And then last chapter ends, and in this chapter also he is telling that you don't glorify me as of now. Let me do the activity first. So then sages, they said okay. And they said to reciters to continue recitation. You see the competition? Here Lord is telling, do not glorify me for what I have not yet done. When I do, you can glorify me later. The sages said, okay, my Lord. And they again told the reciters that you continue recitation, don't worry. So this is a competition between Lord and his devotees. And Lord always kind of gives up, or we can say surrenders to the will of his devotees because he loves them. And then these reciters are reciting the verses glorifying the Lord and about the activity. If you want to glorify someone, you should glorify his activities, not the way he looks, not anything material, but what glorious activity is doing, especially in terms of Krishna consciousness. Those are the only thing which we can glorify, otherwise there is no need of glorification. So this reciters, now they are reciting the verses and addressing King Prithu about future, that what you will do in future. Like in yesterday's verse you saw, the king will be firmly determined and always situated in truth. He will be lover of the Brahminical culture and will render all service to old men and give shelter to all surrender souls. Giving respects to all, he will always be merciful to the poor and innocent. And then in today's verse, he's telling the king will respect all women as if they were his own mother. Matra bhakti para trishu. Para trishu. Like Chanakya says, na matravat paradareshu paradraveshu lostravat. Atmavat sarvabhutesu bhutesu yaha pashyati sa pandita. Prabhupada is quoting the translation of it. Matravat paradhareshu. Whose qualification these three are? Yaha pashyati sa panditaha. A pandit, a learned man. How you can recognize who's learned or who's not? One who has these three qualities is learned. Learning and education does not mean about material academic education, where you get degrees, where you get marks, where you become, like Shudra, working for some organization. But here, education or means a learned person means one who has been trained in developing the character, in developing these godly qualities, that is when he will be called as Pandita. In Bhagavad Gita also says Krishna Panditaha Samadarshina. Pandita is Samadarshi. He is saying that Paradraveshu Lostrava. Lostra is like a filth. Lostra is like a filth. So Paradraveshu, other man's property is like filth. It's like a garbage. And then he says, Atmavat Sarva Bhuteshu. Atmavat. Atma means me, myself. I will, that person who's a Pandita, he will treat Sarva Bhuteshu, all living entities, Sarva Bhuteshu, as his own. How he will treat himself, he will treat other people. So by this, now if you see in today's world, well, look, only three qualities Chanakya is talking about and Prabhupada is quoting. But what are these three qualities? Let us discuss. Matravat paradhareshu. First he said, Matravat paradhareshu. Paradhareshu means others' wife. How a person or every person should see the wife of other men. If you see nowadays, it's very unfortunate, but the wives of other men, almost practically every man on this planet is very lusty. He sees every woman as the source of enjoyment, as the object of enjoyment. So he is not learned, he is opposite. So he does not see other women as mother, he sees every other woman as the object of enjoyment. What is happening with this in the world? And even women. It's like men for women and women for men. Women are also looking every man as their object of enjoyment, and men are looking every woman as their object of enjoyment. So kind of complementing each other and very smoothly gliding down to the hell. That's how it happens. And nowadays you see, even marriages, Bhagavatham says marriages in Kali Yuga towards the end will take place just for sense pleasure. But now also marriages are only on the external looks. What to talk about the West or the East? In India itself, many people are nowadays getting married based on looks. A girl wants to see the boy, and boy wants to see the girl. If they don't like each other's looks, then they don't get married. And if they like, they go ahead and become friends, or have a live-in culture where they check for the compatibility. How can you check compatibility in material world when you yourself are not compatible? This entire material world is uncompatible. We are not supposed to be here. That itself is incompatible, but still we are checking this compatibility of male and female, and then they decide if we stay together. So even after living in a live-in culture for 5 years, 6 years, they say, okay, now let us get married. So they've all done sinful activities. Now they want to get married. And after marriage, what happens? After 1 year, they take divorce. So what is the benefit? And that is why it says in the scriptures that one should check the horoscope for compatibility. Kundali. It will talk about whether the man or would-be husband is compatible to the woman or not, to that particular woman. If not, then they'll not arrange the marriage between them. What we check, what people are checking nowadays is only sense pleasure. So no one is able to do Matravat Paradhareshu, it's opposite. Then paradravyeshu lostravat. Other men's property is like garbage. But now people even are stealing others' garbage. If you see, no one treats other men's property as garbage. They want to loot or they want to exploit everyone in the world and take their property. Just opposite. Why it says garbage? Because no one is interested in garbage. I mean, when you are walking and you see some garbage lying, when all of you keep visiting India, you can see the garbage. So if there is garbage, you don't your mouth doesn't become watery. You don't start piling up the bags with garbage in your house. No one does that. That's a separate thing that people make money even from garbage. In India, the population is so high, 1.3 or approximately 1.4 billion, that everyday garbage in itself is like millions of rupees. So much garbage is produced, and people are making money from garbage also. So nobody in this world, we have hardly anyone in this world who will believe in this concept or who will be convinced paradraveshu lostravat. They just want to enjoy everyone. Whatever other person has, I must have. That envy is there. And because of envy, Atmavat Sarvabhuteshu doesn't happen. Atmavat Sarvabhuteshu, that every living entity I will deal as if I am dealing with them. Every living entity I will treat as if I am treating myself. Imagine how such a high character we require to come to this level. Just 3 points. In this Kali Yuga, in this advanced Kali Yuga, even to get 3 points, forget about 3 points, even 1 point it is difficult to get in the people today. Where are those men who don't see who see other women as mother? Where are those women who see others men as sons? Where is anyone on this planet who says that other man's property is like garbage? I'm not at all interested. I don't want that. And where are those people who will treat everyone else like they would like to be treated? Like they want to be treated by others. And they are called Pandita Samadarshina. So here the same line is saying the king will respect all women as if they were his own mother. Matra bhakti para strishu. Same thing. Matra bhakti. So this is the point he says. Now these 3 points of Chanakya about seeing as other men or women as object of sense gratification, seeing others' property as object of enjoyment, and treating others very in a very degraded manner, disrespectful way. Because of these three, all the problems in the world are happening because of these three. And then these people say that we are very learned. We have done PhD. We are like big astronauts in NASA. We are big scientists, research scholars all over the world. And all these Vedic people, that is mythology. Just try to imagine the world as of now where every man is looking for, apart from his wife, every other woman as mother. Imagine the world where every woman, apart from her husband, is looking every other man as her son. And every man and woman in the world is looking others' property as garbage. And they treat everyone respectfully as they would like to be treated by others. Imagine the world, it will be more than Satyuga. We can't even conceive that kind of world today. It's Satyuga. How people will be happy? You don't have to put so much security. Now everywhere security is the biggest concern. You see, sometimes we see the kind of lock system, thumb impression, and then your retina, things, this eye scanners, so many critical and all advanced technology for security. Why? Securing your property. Securing your property. And if that property is seen as garbage by everyone else in the world, why will you spend so much money, time, and energy just to secure money? It's an anxiety. If you have kept money in somewhere, you will be in anxiety whether that money will be safe or will be taken away. Then if you see, if you respect everyone, how it will become. So these 3 points, what Prabhupada is quoting in the purport, nothing is happening right now. And all the problems in the world because of this. All the problems are happening because of this. Then he says, Matra Bhakti Parastrishu. How that king will be? His king will see every other woman apart from his own wife as mother and respect them and treat them like a mother. In Bhagavatham first canto, Srila Prabhupada in one of the purports of prayers by Queen Kunti, he writes that 5 things or 5 categories have to be protected by the king. Brahmins, that will protect Brahminical culture and spread the knowledge given in Vedas. Second category is cows. Cows are and that milk when we drink, our brain tissues will become fertile and we can understand the Vedic knowledge very nicely. Then he says protection of children. If children are not protected, then what happens? They'll get contaminated from so many materialistic theories and they will lose an opportunity to go back to home, back to Godhead in his life. Now the state of Maharashtra, some of you may know from India, it's a state, one of the largest states in India, and yesterday results were out for high school students. And 25% of the students' entire state, they failed. They could not, clear the exam. They failed. And why? They are playing with video games, busy with social media, watching movies, listening to songs, and just hanging out here and there. That's why they fail. There's no other reason. They didn't study. Now, why it happened? Because these kids were not protected and they were not given culture of Krishna consciousness. Apart from that, even if they study, the 75% who studied and they passed, that does not mean they are good. Still, they are not protected because they are not given Krishna consciousness, and all these modern theories, what they learn in school and colleges, makes them more proud, makes them more go deeper into illusion. This is what is unprotection. And then Brahmins, then cow, then children, and then old people. Because old people, they have a lot of experience. If they are taken, they are taken nicely, if their care is taken, if they are given a lot of care, they can share their experience of Krishna consciousness. And not only that, at the end of their life, towards the end of their life, towards the fag end of their life, they will chant peacefully Hare Krishna Mahamantra, read Srimad Bhagavatam, and go back to God. Otherwise, they'll also lose this opportunity. And the fifth category Prabhupada writes is of women. Because women are not protected. If women are not protected, Krishna says, Arjuna says in Bhagavad Gita that what will happen? Varna Sankara Jayate. There will be Varna Shankar. What is Varna Shankar? These women are polluted. If these women gets polluted, they will produce the children who will not be, what do you call? They'll be coming out of sinful actions. These children will be produced out of sinful actions. And that is why you see nowadays the kids, taking birth in the world are more or less demoniac. Because mother, father, they are contaminated, they're polluted, and the children become demoniac. So these five categories are very important, Prabhupada says, to protect. So here one of the category is respect to women. If every man will respect every woman, wife also should be respected. That we'll discuss in the next line. But everyone will be respected. Every woman will be respected from the mother. So much purity will be there in the society. Purity in terms of the consciousness and the bodies of women will not be polluted. The consciousness and mind of men will be purified. Consciousness in such a smooth and easy way. But everyone has become lusty today, and that's why it's very difficult to preach Krishna. To preach Krishna consciousness is not easy and not difficult. If you see how much Prahlad Maharaj has to undergo. So severe austerity, Prahlad Maharaj, so many life threats, so many attempts to kill him, he has to undergo. And so many other devotees have to undergo so much of tapasya like Vishwamitra. Valmiki Muni, 60,000 years. He did tapasya. Seeing the pitiable situation of this Kali Yuga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us the process for liberation. So simple, just chant Hare Krishna. Whatever you eat prasad, before you eat, offer it to Krishna. And do Sankirtan, chant and dance. The most complex system to realize God has been made most easier. The easiest process of bhakti. Very simple. You have to just chant, read sometime, eat Krishna Prasad, and Jare Dekho Tare Kaho Krishna Updesh. Whomever you meet, just talk about Krishna. You will be your consciousness will be purified, and others will be purified. And in that way, entire atmosphere will get purified. Imagine the world like that. Such kind of consciousness, if comes in the world, Srila Prabhupada said even if 10% of the population of the world becomes Krishna conscious devotees, the world will change. Only 10%. If we can make devotees in the world, so what is the population? 7 billion. So what we need to make is out of 7 billion, to make how much? 700 million? No, only 10%. Now out of 7 billion, yeah, 700 million, which itself is a big number. So Prabhupada says if 10% of the population of this world will become Krishna conscious devotees, the world will become, this will be a place like Satyuga. So we have to preach. And this is what we have to preach. Then next he says, Patnyam Ardha Ivatmanaha. King Prithu will see his own wife, Archi, Queen Archi, as Ardhangani. Why they told you Ardhangani? Ardha means half, Anga means body. So he will respect and treat his own wife as his half body, which is a better half. Half of the body is his wife's body. So then he will respect and treat wife as he himself will respect and treat himself. Then third says, Prajashu Pitravat Snigdha. Prajashu, the Praja. Now who's Praja? Praja only means living entity, human beings. Scripture says no. Praja means any living entity who has taken birth in that kingdom is subject of that king, and king must take care of every living entity, even animals, even birds, even trees, and human beings as his own children, and teach them the process of bhakti and send them back to Godhead. Otherwise, king will have to take karma. It said in this section only, it will come later, in this or next chapter, where it is mentioned that if anyone who becomes a king, he has many subjects, population. And if population does sinful activity, 1/6 of the reaction of that sinful activity goes to the king. King has to accept because he's taking position, responsibility, and he does not make them devotees, then he has to take the karmic reactions. So any responsible person who takes the position of leadership, it is his duty to make devotees, especially people who are under his care, they should be given an opportunity to become devotees. Then this king can himself advance. Otherwise, he will be engrossed with so much reaction of sinful activity committed by these people. So imagine now, already in this Kali Yuga, the leaders are sinful, the leaders are demoniac. Because I don't think anywhere in the world there is no slaughterhouse. Even in countries like India and Nepal and Bangladesh too much, even Bhutan and all that, so much, uh, so many animals are being slaughtered on an everyday basis. It's a sinful thing. So many people are drinking liquor, so many people are doing illicit activities, so many people are engaged in gambling, speaking lies, all nonsense culture everywhere in the world, and 1/6 of the karma has to be transferred to the king. He's dead. The person who becomes a prime minister or president of the nation is almost dead. Because on an hourly basis, every second, people will send him karma. All bad karma he has to take. because he's taken responsibility. That is why it is his responsibility, it is his duty to preach to his people Krishna consciousness and make them devotees. And how do you treat them? Like your own children, with lot of compassion and snigdha affection. That is needed. And then it is kinkaro brahmavadina. Kinkaro. And the word kinkar means servant. So when it is said kinkar, you should understand servant of Krishna. Devotee. Kinkar means devotee. Like Prabhupada says, Kirtan means Krishna Kirtan, not Kali Kirtan. So similarly, Kinkar means devotee. Brahmavadina. Brahma is absolute truth. That means Krishna. Vadina. One who is singing about Krishna. The servant of the Lord, one who is always engaged in singing the glories of the Lord, who is called Kinkaro Brahmavadina. Understand? So when it is at Kinkaro, means devotees. Prabhupada very nicely speaks about this. The devotees who preach the glories of the Lord, not just sing, but preach the glories of the Lord. He writes in translation, and he will treat himself as the most obedient servant of the devotees. Kinkara, he will become servant, and Brahmavadina. Brahmavadina is also devotee. So he will become servant of the devotees. So servant of the devotees also. And what kind of devotees? Who always preach the glories of the Lord. So that means who doesn't preach. Is there any devotee who doesn't preach the glories of the Lord? Devotee means he will naturally preach the glories. If someone has become devotee, he will not be able to control. Krishna from within wants to come out and go to everyone's heart through their ears. So that is why these devotees, they speak and sing the glories of the Lord. So many lectures Srila Prabhupada used to do. Why? So many morning walks, so many conversations. Even when he is in his last stage, he is translating Bhagavatham, he is preaching. And he is preaching to everyone in the room. So these are called Brahmavadina. The devotee who always preaches the glory of the Lord. And one who does not preach is not a devotee. So he says, in the purport also, the word Brahmavadinam is very significant. Brahmavadi refers to the devotees of the Lord. Brahma, Paramatma, Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan are different terms for the Supreme Brahman. And Supreme Brahman is Lord Krishna. Is accepted by Arjuna and Bhagavad Gita. Thus the word Brahmavadinam refers to devotees of the Lord. The state should always serve the devotees of the Lord, and ideal state should conduct itself according to the instructions of the devotee. Because King Prithu followed this principle, he is highly praised. He is highly praised. 2 points we'll discuss. One is his Brahmavadina, devotees. Brahmavadi, Vadi means one who speaks. So Brahmavadina means devotees who always preach the glories of the Lord. First point. Second is that the state should conduct itself according to the instructions. So Prabhupada, by this word Brahmavadina, that's why Prabhupada writes in the purport, this word is very important, Brahmavadina. So by this, he is expressing that every devotee or a practicing devotee, practicing sadhaka, must preach. As we say, na, right now you were reciting 10 holy name offenses, and after that you said every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must carefully guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success, Krishna Prem. This also means every devotee who claims to Vaishnava must preach the glories of the Lord. Otherwise, he is not chaste. He is not loyal to Supreme Lord. He is unchaste. He is disloyal. So, to prove our loyalty, we should preach to everyone in the world. Wherever we go, we should preach. We should tell. This is the real charity. The essence of all charities. Give them Krishna consciousness. Give them Krishna. If you give them Krishna, they will get everything. They'll not need anything else. And then he says that devotees should actually guide the kings to how to rule the people. Now that is difficult in this scenario. So someone asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada became so popular suddenly. All over the world, Krishna was glorifying Prabhupada like anything. So Prabhupada came to India, so many Westerners, Indians, everyone is taking. And that's kind of emergency time. In India, emergency was declared in 1971. The war with Pakistan for Bangladesh, and the emergency was declared. So maybe that is the time around. Prabhupada also came to India and someone asked him, Prabhupada, are you interested in politics? Will you contest for the position of Prime Minister of India? Would you like to become Prime Minister of India? Because he was so popular, if he will stand and he will contest for Prime Minister post, he would have become Prime Minister. So popular. And then Prabhupada said, no, we would not like to become Prime Minister, but we would like to become counselor or an advisor to Prime Minister. Because that is the job of a Brahman. Not to run the show, but to run the king, to guide the king. That's the job of Brahmana. He'll not do things himself. Like, if you see in this thing only, when they killed Vena. When Vena was killed by the sages because of absence of king. So many thieves and rogues and dacoits, they started coming out from their hidden places and started taking the wealth of people. They started exploiting people. Now Brahmanas, these sages are great, sages. They have the power to control these people. But they say, it is in the previous chapter, they said that it is not the duty of Brahmana to do this. An emergency is okay. Sometimes there's an emergency. It's not a duty of Brahmana to kill King Vena, but it's an emergency. And no one will come in front of him to kill him. So let us kill him. But they didn't deal with dacoits or plunderers or thieves or rogues. They said, let us bring the king. And they churned the body of Vena, where from Prithu came. So Brahmanas don't like to take part in active management. ISKCON is different. Let us not put ISKCON into Varnashram. And then, so Prabhupada said that I would like to become advisor of the Prime Minister. Obviously, Prime Minister didn't, because of so much of false ego, they didn't even pay attention to what Prabhupada is trying to say. Prabhupada said same thing. Prabhupada went to United Nations in New York and did Kirtan outside United Nations. So he was called for some peace mission or something. So then he was standing outside with devotees. It was in 67 early days. And devotees thought, wherever you are eating, let us chant. So they were chanting. Prabhupada said, let us do kirtan. So they started doing kirtan. It's a peace mission. And someone from inside United Nations, some officer, he said, Swamiji, stop all this sound, noise, too much noise. Stop this. And Prabhupada said, okay, stop kirtan, let us chant. And they started chanting their arms. And that's how Prabhupada says United Nation is a place where dogs of different species from different countries are brought together, and what they will do. If you take the one big room and bring few dogs from Australia, few from China, few from Russia, few from India, few from Africa, few from Europe and other countries and America and all that, and keep them in the room, what they will do? Peace mission. They'll only bark and fight each other. And that's exactly what is happening in United Nations till today. Only the name is United Nations. They're not united. Everyone has so much false ego. How can they be united? But in ISKCON, Prabhupada united people. Even though we have false ego, but Prabhupada said, do sadhana, come together, serve each other, respect each other, and see how this ISKCON will become the real united. Prabhupada said ISKCON is the real united nation of the world. It's a real UN. So Prabhupada wanted to become. Prabhupada had expressed desire not to become PM, but if given an opportunity, I would like to guide. Imagine the situation. It will become like what was there in Yudhishthir Maharaj's time. Yudhishthir was being guided by Bhishma, Narada, so many, and his Kulguru Devala. Who was his Kulguru? Dhaumya. And so many Saptarishis would regularly visit to Yudhishthir. And Krishna personally is staying with them, is living with them. He is guiding. And Yudhishthir could peacefully. Actually, it's very, it's a tricky situation in our life. Krishna is telling us to surrender and our life will be easy, but because of our own misconception and false ego, we don't surrender. Because of our own false ego, we don't take guidance. And we take all the burden on ourselves. If you take guidance from spiritual master, from Guru Parampara, and just live your life, lead your life as they say, is it not that life will be simple and happy and satisfied? But we don't want that. Because we don't want to take guidance because of false ego. Otherwise, tell you what is the problem. Whatever scriptures Bhagavad Gita is telling, Krishna is telling, Prabhupada is telling, if we just follow, take guidance, do you think we'll not be happy? That's all false ego. We don't want to take instruction from scriptures. Most of us, we read scriptures either to give classes or okay, let us read and become more intelligent. Let us read and quote and increase our name and fame in all the three worlds. And some people, okay, there's a beauty. Prabhupada said, let us read. How many follow? That's required. Not just like here Prabhupada says, this should be the standard of education in the purport. Education does not mean having academic degrees only. One should execute what he has learned in his personal life. Execute means application of what he has learned. So if you have learned something from Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, apply in your life. It's most difficult. Why? Because of false ego. Because of madness. Because of pride. We are so proud. Otherwise, life is simple. We make it complex because of our own, what do you call this, ideas and rebellious nature. We make things complicated. Life is simple. Everyone has their own way, then it's difficult. Because your way may not suit my way. And what I say, that may not suit some other person. But if everyone follows Krishna's words, keeping Krishna as center, then there's the problem. But that is what is said, Maya Aparata Jnana. Maya Devi has kidnapped. Maya Devi has taken away all our knowledge. We are bereft of knowledge. And that's why we are not convinced to follow Krishna's instruction. So,
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. You are muted, Prabhuji.
okay, sorry. So these are the four things which are recited by these professionals, recited on the instruction of sages in the glories of King Prithu, and these are the glories which he has not yet manifested, and these will eventually manifest in due course of time. That Prithu Maharaj will respect every woman apart from his wife as mother. He will respect his wife as his own, as his own half body, and then he will affectionately take care of all the people, not only people, entire population, including birds and animals and trees as his own children. And then he will always become the devotee, he'll become the devotee of Brahmavadi. He'll become devotee of servant of Brahmavadi, who are devotees of the Lord. So the four things spoken in this verse. If anyone has any question or comment, then we can discuss. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you for the very, very nice class, covering all these 4 points. Prithu Maharaj being a wonderful king. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the nice session. Anyone has any questions or comments for Prabhuji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
I like your presentation very much. You described how the three Kalagyas are able to know and reveal even about the Lord's pastime to come, because they must have participated in previously and they know the will of the Lord looks like. But still, many times the three Kalagyas, many people claim that someone is three Kalagya and they treat them as God. What is the difference between Sri Kalaki and Krishna? Because people are so enamored. If somebody can tell my future or past, I think people become enamored, thinking that that is God.
Okay, so I got your question. Your question is, there are many Trikala Gyanis, but what is difference between Krishna and these Trikala Gyanis? So Krishna is also Trikala Gyani, but Krishna's level and depth of knowledge of past, present and future is complete. And the devotees, the exalted pure devotees like Narada Muni, they are also Trikala Gyani, but their knowledge of Trikala Gyan, past, present and future, their knowledge is because of mercy of Lord Krishna. And you are talking about the people who are astrologers, they have only little bit understanding, and that too they need your data and they're just reading it. It's the science. It's not Trikala Gyan. It is like you go for a hospital to check up, you get your X-ray done, and you see X-ray, your and other person's X-ray. You will not find any difference. But the doctor will be able to understand what is the difference between X-ray. So these astrologers is nothing. They are reading the chart, and that too nowadays in this Kali Yuga, hardly any astrologer is perfect. And that too, whatever is mentioned, little bit they can give indication. They cannot uh, talk as if as Trikala Gyanis are talking. So that is there. And apart from that, there is a fourth category which are bogus people, completely bogus, who claim to be God, who claim to be best of best, and they actually have no knowledge. Some siddhi, some cheating propensity is there, and they have by some austerities, they have gained some siddhis, and they are fooling people and exploiting them. So there's a difference between these four categories. Is that clear, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhuji, yes. So Krishna's knowledge is.
Krishna knowledge all complete.
I was wondering that when you said three kalas here, the three kalas are limited.
Past, present, and future.
Yeah, which are limited to this material creation. You know? But
spiritual world, there is no influence of Kala, but there is Leela, what Krishna will do, and mostly it is in material world, these things. Spiritual world, no one needs to know what is in past, what is in present, what is in future. Everyone is completely engaged in Krishna consciousness. So mostly in material world, yes.
Krishna's knowledge is beyond the material world also.
Krishna's knowledge is complete. Even devotees have knowledge of spiritual world. Prabhupada writes about spiritual world. Many devotees have knowledge of spiritual, but the knowledge of devotee is because of the mercy of Krishna. And knowledge of Krishna is supremely independent. His knowledge is his knowledge, and his knowledge has much deeper impact. His much deep depth. His knowledge has much more depth. Or he has complete knowledge. Complete means complete. There is no, not even a fraction that Krishna does not know.
So Trikalagya knowledge is not complete, so we can say that, correct?
No, it's an indication. And whatever Krishna wants them to know, only that is revealed to them. Not everything. See, when Brahma Vimohan Leela happened, Balramji was also not knowing what has happened. Because Krishna covered even Balramji through yoga mind. How Vasudeva changed the daughter into son. And he took his son, went, and Yashoda sleeping there. Actually, Yashoda gave birth to one daughter and one son. But Vasudeva only saw daughter. Where was son? Unmanifested. So Vasudeva was covered. So even Krishna covers through his Yoga Maya potency his own devotees. What to talk about others. So Krishna covers. So whatever Krishna wants them to know, that much is revealed to them. Not everything. When we say Sakshat Haritvena, Guru is Sakshat Hari, he doesn't become Hari. Guru is not God. Whatever Guru needs, if a Guru is a sincere person, if Guru is sincere to Krishna and his own Guru, then he is given facility by Guru Parampara and Krishna to know what is required to guide his disciples. That is Sakshat Haritva. Not that he becomes God. The Krishna gives him knowledge. Whatever Krishna wants to give him knowledge, he'll give. And you can see Prabhupada in a way was Trikaligani, but then Prabhupada took certain decision. Let us see what will happen. So Krishna is whatever Krishna wants, he did. Devotees just surrender to Lord. They don't want to know what is in future. Because if you're surrendered, you're not worried about future. People who are worried about future are not surrendered. Materialistic people, they're worried about future. What will happen? What will happen to my money? What will happen to my family? What will happen to my career, what will happen to my future. It's all because they don't have faith in Krishna. A child who is completely protected in the arms of his mother, he does not care for the world. He does not care even if the tsunami comes because his mother has protected him in her own arms. He is blissful. So that's how devotees are. They don't bother about what is happening in future. They just surrender. Whatever happens, happens. And Krishna guides them from within and without. Krishna tells them, okay, now do this, now do this, now do this. Like Prabhupada was doing bhajan in Samadhi of in this Radha Damodar temple. And Rupa Goswami appeared from his own Samadhi. And Rupa Goswami said, go to West, we have arranged everything. You have to just go. The rest everything is arranged. So Rupa Goswami gave instruction in 1963. And Prabhupada started preparing, got the ticket. He went 65 and started his con. And then Rupa Goswami assured him, everything is, we have settled. Go ahead. And everything manifested. So that is how devotees, pure devotees of the Lord are guided. And we, practicing sadhakas, we are guided by these pure devotees. So we should take their shelter. And we'll also become pure. Is that okay, Prabhuji?
Oh, absolutely okay. I read the commentary of Krishna Chakravarti in which he describes that following the instructions of the spiritual master is like a direct mercy of Krishna. It's amazing what he says, that even getting a lot of inspiration from reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatham, all the scriptures and all these things, as you said, becoming learned and knowledgeable, all these things, even we get a lot of inspiration, that is still indirect mercy of Krishna. But to follow the instruction of the spiritual master is experiencing the direct mercy of Krishna. It's like directly following the order of Krishna.
True. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, what you are saying is true. What he says is, following the instruction of spiritual master is direct mercy of Krishna. Spiritual master may give instructions, but not everyone at every point of time is able to follow that. So we need to endeavor and endeavor and endeavor and put lot of endeavors to be able to fulfill his instructions all the time. That is where we will become completely purified from all the anarthas. So we have to practice and come to that level. Anyone else? Any other question?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Just following up a little bit on this subject of Tri Kalagya, the distinction between those who are, let's say, directly empowered by Krishna to understand past, present, future, and astrologers, and I mean, learned astrologers who really understand the science. The difference between, let's say, a Narada Muni and a person who is well versed in astrology, is it that the astrologers have studied the science and that's how come they're able to tell, whereas someone like Narada Muni, he will understand not because he has studied, but because Krishna has told him, or something like that. Is that how it goes?
The knowledge of Narad Muni and knowledge of astrologers is a vast difference. Astrologer learns some astrology to understand the situation and they may give some indication. The knowledge of Narad Muni will not tell only the future, he can actually change our future. If Narad Muni comes now in front of us and Narad Muni desires that, okay, let me take all these people back to Godhead now, he can take it. Astrologer cannot do that. Astrologer only can give some indication that you do this. So that is the reactions, the prarabdha which is coming for us on the way. What you are at ground floor, an astrologer immediately goes to the 10th floor and he says, okay, where you are standing, after 10 minutes, one truck is coming and the truck will, hit you. Oh, after 10 minutes. Like, there's a real story. Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur says this. There was one person on the terrace, on the roof, and he was kind of flying the kite. So this one sadhu boy, he said, be careful, you will fall otherwise. And he heard that, but he was not careful and he fell down from the roof. When he came to Sadhu, he said, my lord, Sadhu Maharaj, what kind of knowledge you have? Whatever you said, it is true. That is what it's happening. You are about to fall down. Anyone can say that. Doesn't need some PhD or something. So astrologer can only tell some material thing, and that too he will go to the upper floor and he will see what is coming in our life and he will tell. But Narada Muni and other devotees, they can change our future. They know spiritual also, they know material also, and they can change your complete destiny. Prabhupada says that. A pure devotee has the power to change our karmic reactions, which nobody else has. Krishna will not interfere. Non-devotee that does not have power. Only a pure devotee can change our future. So we should take shelter of pure devotee. He has the power, he has the desire to liberate us. He is compassionate and merciful, and eventually he will take us. So we should take shelter of pure devotee. So there is a difference between Narad Muni and other pure devotees, vis-a-vis to astrologer.
Okay, so I understood that, of course, mundane astrologers, they cannot change our karmic destiny, whereas someone like Narada Muni can. But I still ask this question though. Is it true that mundane astrologers, they can tell me what will happen with my life in 3 years' time, because they are adept in this study of astrology, whereas Narada Muni, who can also tell me what will happen in my life in 3 years' time, just because he has that connection to Krishna, not because he needed to study anything.
So the
astrologer
can tell you what will happen in 3 years, but only some indications. He cannot tell you the details. Astrologer will not tell you the details. Astrologer cannot tell you that how will your japa be tomorrow. Tomorrow when you chant your rounds, how will you be able to chant? That astrologer cannot tell you. So astrologer cannot tell you when you will become thirsty, when you will become hungry. On a broad level, he can tell some indications here and there, and if he is learned very much, and if he was much. Otherwise, he cannot tell. Most of the astrologers are misleading. Only certain indications.
So something as
it's like
detailed,
you go to
something as detailed as will I get hit by a car in 3 years?
Not necessary. Maybe little. It's an indication that you will become rich. Now he will not tell you will buy the car. He may tell you, okay, you buy the car. What if you don't want to buy the car and you want to buy the, bus, or you want to buy something else? Instead of car, you buy a flat. So there's some indication that okay, some profit will come, and then you will become, you will purchase a property. Some indications, but not. And we should not depend also. It's anyways karma. It's coming. It's a karma which is anyways coming. You go to airport and you ask them when is my flight. So they'll tell you, okay, your flight is delayed by 2 hours. So that's what astrologer can tell you. That's all. How will be a journey in that flight? Nobody can tell you. They'll not tell you so much in detail. Okay, any other question? Because I have to go. It's already 6:12, 6 in the evening here. If there's no other question, then we will stop here for today.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. So we can end the call. Thank you all so much for joining. Vancha kalpatarubhascha kripasindhubheva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaः. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, हिज ग्रेस चक्रवर्ती प्रभु की जय. हरे कृष्ण. थैंक यू सो मच.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Goodbye.